This could end up being the world's most boring video, but if you're interested, you're interested. And it's just really a really short recap of the 10 miles a day for 100 days. And I'm only doing it because a couple of people have asked me kind of asked me to do it. You know, what happened, what the good things, what the bad things. So I'll just try and condense it really quickly. For a start, there were no negatives. There's no reason in the world why somebody shouldn't do a similar challenge. It doesn't have to be 10 miles a day, but through consistency I've built a habit, and through habit I've built a whole heap of really good traits and fitness and endurance and everything that comes with the consistency, really. So I mean, for a start, I had to do a few little deals with myself here and there. You know, I started saying, well, let's do 10 days, see how that goes. Let's do 20 days, see how it goes. And, you know, because if I had the 100 days in the back of my mind, but it was really hard for me to actually get my head around that big goal. So I just chunked it down into smaller, manageable, believable tasks. So the first thing is that the rules were same loop every day. I don't have to think about anything, so I'm running the same thing around about the same time. I'm fasted generally, just black coffee and a pint of water before I go. Do not look at the watch, do not worry about pace or time or heart rate, but I'll talk about heart rate a little bit in a minute. So those were the rules, really, and just to do it every single day without fail. And there was a couple of times I had to do a different route because I went away for the weekend or whatever, but I still did the 10 miles a day. The biggest key as well was that I did it. I looked at it more as a breath practice than a run. So I wanted to practice my nasal breathing. And so what is the outcome of that? Well, it's just mind-boggling, to be honest. I'm now running at a much faster pace with a heart rate of like 5 to 10 beats lower in some instances, while nasally breathing in and out through my nose. And that in itself is phenomenal. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just happens. Your body just gets used to it and says, okay, right, you're doing this, I'm going to adapt. And it's just amazing. I mean, even to the point where you know, supposedly, if you up your mileage too quickly when you're running, I think you should up it, 5 to 10% each week. And I'm not advocating anybody does a huge jump in mileage, but I was running about 30 miles a week, and I just jumped straight into this and started doing 70 miles a week, and sometimes more because I was running in the evenings and stuff. But I knew in the back of my mind that if I was running, and by no means have I got the best posture, you know, running pose or whatever, but I knew that if I could run to the best of my ability with the best form, then obviously I'm going to minimise that potential injury risk. And I didn't get any injuries until day 97 when I pulled my bollock doing a fast run. But that's by the by. So all the way up to then, I went through different stages of pain, if you like, but it wasn't really pain. It was soreness, and it was establishing whether I think there were 100 times where I could have said, well, I'm not running tomorrow because something hurts. But then actually what I started figuring out is if you identify pain and don't give it too much attention, like don't lead it to cause suffering, then just, right, that's painful, and then run anyway. Well, understanding the difference between pain and stiffness, I guess what I'm saying is that, yeah, I've got a better ability now to understand when my body needs to stop, as opposed to my mind's just going, yeah, you don't really want to run today, have a rest, have another donut. So that is fantastic. And do you know what the problem actually wasn't running. The problem was, I did get a few days where my back got a bit tight, or a hip, or whatever, but it was still runnable. The problem was walking around on a daily basis, or getting up in the middle of the night for a wee. It's like, my legs don't want to work. But yeah, the problem was never the running. It's always the mind telling you, maybe give it a bit of a rest today. Don't get me wrong, I'm resting now. My body's ready for a rest. So that was number one. Number two, like the breathing thing and the heart rate. I mean, I'm wearing a wrist heart rate monitor, which I don't really rate anyway. I think they're always out by 5 beats or more. Get a little bit of sweat or a bit of moisture or water, and they go all over the place. But they are consistently shit. So what I mean by that is, I get a pretty good idea of where I'm at by, if I wanted to look at it. But by the end of it, I mean, halfway through, and definitely by the end of it, I could tell you now, if I had a heart rate strap on or whatever my watch is saying, I could tell you now without looking at it, I reckon within 3 to 5 beats per minute, accurately what my heart rate is by my breathing pattern. And that to me is awesome. And so I know how to, I talked a lot about breathing gears, switching it up nasally. But it's absolutely ingrained in me now. At any time that I would glance down, and it wasn't very often, I could say to myself, right, I'm running at about 140 beats per minute. Bang, it's there. Running at 125, bang, it's there. So that mind-body connection just got really, really ingrained. So that was number two. I think number three, actually, my running form became a lot better. I was very consistent with 180 foot strikes per minute, which is ideal. And as I sped up, I was definitely hitting 190 on a decent stride as well. So that was really good. And also, I found that, some days I'd just I'd go out and run. Generally, it would be a similar sort of pace, but every now and again, my body was just like, bang, let's go. But what I realised also is I can now run, I reckon, at about 90 to 95% of my maximum effort just through nasal breathing. So before, when I was doing like intervals and sprints and stuff, I'd be running at, let's say, a 5 minute 30 mile, or maybe a little bit quicker. I can do that now without having to shift to gear 4, which is a power nasal in and out through the mouth. I can do that by staying in gear 3, which is power nasal in, power out through the nose. And that's pretty phenomenal. So I can run at a much faster pace than before. So, who would have thought that from just running consistently? Well, it makes perfect sense, I suppose, doesn't it? Yeah, that's about it really. I mean, that's nearly 10 minutes of waffle, but I don't really know what else there is to say about it. Just pick a challenge, do it, be consistent, form a habit, and reap the benefits.